writing those equations in slope-intercept form. Remember, that's our y equals mx plus b form, right? And what does the m stand for? Slope. And what does the b stand for? Y-intercept, right. Okay, so keeping that in mind, these first two just want us to put them in that order and then identify m and b, just like we were doing yesterday. So, right now, we have a 2x on the same side as my y. How could I move that 2x?
Subtract it from both.
Good. So I subtract it from both sides of the equal sign. That'll make these ones go away. And then I'll end up with y equals
Negative 2x.
And we could put plus 0, but it doesn't really need to be there, right? Okay. All right. So, which part is my m?
Negative 2.
The negative 2. So my m is negative 2. And b is supposed to be out here on the end, and there's nothing there.
So it's
Shut up,
just
please.
0, 0.
So it just is at 0, 0. Very good. Okay. Number 2. What should I move?
4x.
Okay. You can do that. How would I move it?
I was just by adding.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to add 4x to both sides.
And 4x gets left.
So that's just going to be 0 on that side, right? So I have 0 equals negative 3y plus 4x minus 9. What do I move now? Yep, we can move the 3y, so we would have to add it. So that makes those go away, right? Okay. So what is 0 plus 3y? 3y. So I now have 3y equals 4x minus 9. Okay, if I divide the y by 3, I also have to divide everything else by 3. So I divide by 3 here, here, and here. So my 3's will cancel out there. So I'm going to have y equals, will 4 over 3 simplify?
No.
It's just going to give me a decimal. Right? So I'm just going to leave it as 4 over 3x. And what's negative 9 divided by 3?
3. Negative 3.
Negative 3. Very good. Okay, so which part is my m?
The 4 over 3.
Good. And which part is my b?
The negative 3.
Okay, so how would I write that as a coordinate form?
0, negative 3.
Very good. All right. Okay, so those are my solutions. Then, just like yesterday, once we fix them in this section, they then want us to graph them. So, on my first equation here, what should I do?
Just move the negative 2y to the negative 1.
Probably not, because we want our y's on this side, right? Yes. Oh, okay. All right, sorry. Okay, so what would I move? There we go. So those go away. Then I'm going to have 12. And then what's negative 2y plus 6y? So I'll have plus 4y equals 4x. Okay, then what? Good. And I cannot put the 4x and the 12 together because one has a letter, one doesn't. So 4x minus 12. Everything by 4. So I'll have y equals okay, so what's my m? my b?
-3.
Okay, so at 0, -3. All right, so this tells me that my graph is going to start at -3. Okay, and I'm just going to be going
up one, yeah, or side.
right. And it's positive, so I know it has to slant this direction, right? Okay. Okay. All right, this next one, x equals 3. So is there anything that's going to need to be moved? No. It just doesn't even have a y, right? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and try and graph that and see what that would even look like. So if I go to where x is 3, that's over here, right? Okay, so 1, 2, 3. If I go back one space, am I still at 3? If I go
up
forward?
and down.
Very good. It's going to have to be vertical.
Looks you could always, well, the way that I think about it is like, if it's x equals 3, you go through x.
Right. Go through the y. Yes. Very good. For our graph like this, when it asks us to identify our slope, remember slope is rise over run, right? So if I have rise over run, I can see this is rising, right? It's going up. So there is some value up here, whatever it may be. Looks like 3, right? But is it running? Is it going left or right? So I have a 0 in the bottom. Can you have a 0 in the bottom of a fraction? So that means my slope must be undefined. Okay? All right, and then my b, that's where I intersect the y-axis, right? Is this ever going to intersect my y-axis?
No, it's 3, 0.
My x-intercept is at 3, 0,
Yeah.
but this is my y. No, it's never going to touch the y-axis. All right. Okay, on number 5. We got to get x by itself so that it'll look like the last one we did. What should I move? Good. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I'm going to end up -5. Very good. So we already now know if we have an x equals equation that our m is undefined, right? We have a 0 in the bottom. 5 over 0. So undefined slope. Is it ever going to intersect the y-axis if it's x equals? Nope. So there is no b. So I just go over here to where x is -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I draw my line. Okay. All right. Last one like this. We don't have any x's, we just have a y. So we must be trying to get the y by itself. How would I do that? So I'm going to end up with y equals
Half 4.
4. So this is like what we were doing yesterday, right? So I go up to where y is 4. And I can't go up or down and still be at 4. So like Caden said, if it's a y equals equation, it's got to go through the y-axis. So this time I have a horizontal. So this is like what we did yesterday. Does anybody remember what we said about our slope yesterday? So remember, rise over run, right? Is this one rising?
No.
No. So the 0 is on top, the 4 is in the bottom. What's 0 divided by 4? So my m is 0. So if it's an x equals equation undefined, y equals, then it's a 0. All right, and where do we cross the y-axis?
0. 0.04.
Good. Okay. All right, last one. It says not last one, second to last one. If negative 2y is a solution to this equation, what is the value of y? Well, I know when we have a coordinate point, this part is my x and this part is my y, right? So they gave me an x to plug in. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite this, but instead of x, I can put in
-2.
Good. So I'll have 3 times negative 2, and we have minus 4y equals 18. Okay, so what would I want to do first here?
Multiply.
So 3 times
-6.
negative 6 minus 4y equals 18. Then what?
Add 6.
Add 6, okay.
54.
Oh, sure. Regular. Thank you. All right, so I end up with
Negative 4.
24.
Then you divide
Divide
by
by
negative 4 on both sides.
Y equals
6.
24 divided by negative 4 is negative 6. So when it asks what our value of y is, it's just negative 6. Thank you so much. Okay, last one. This time they gave us a y. So same idea, but I'm going to substitute this in for y. So I'll have 2x equals 4, and in place of y, I'm going to plug in negative 4.2 plus 14. Okay, so I would need to multiply first, right?
-16.8.
Negative 16.8. And then we still have the plus 14. So then I can combine those like terms, right? What is negative 16.8 plus 14? Good. So I have 2x equals negative 2.8. What? Negative 1.4 would be our value for x.